Welcome everyone to the FFL 360 team call every Thursday, 1 o'clock Eastern time. We got an awesome guest trainer on our call today, John Wetmore. And before we get into that, we'll just go over some quick numbers, quick housekeeping real quick. So last week, we ended up submitting a total of $59,031 of business. And by helping 66 families, the second part's the important part, right? We helped 66 families last week, which is awesome. We had a total of 11 writers submit business last week, and we had 6 people submit over $3,000 for the week. So I'm gonna go ahead and get those right off pretty quick. We had Billy Baldwin at $3,288. Mike Pearson at $5,682. He ran 41 appointments last week, all off of internet leads, which is awesome, dude. You're gonna start writing 10 grand a week in no time here. So good work, dude. We had Jess Noda at $6,508, and myself at $8,268. We had 2 folks over 10,000 for the week. Alexis was at $13,152, and I believe he submitted pretty close to $10,000 over the weekend, and he had a bunch of activity on Tuesday and Wednesday to get that up there. So good work, dude. And we had Shadi coming in at top spot at $15,731. As you all know, we got a conference coming up next week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So make sure you do get to conference either Wednesday night or be there about 8 o'clock on Thursday morning. There is a lead seminar that typically kicks it off. So you guys definitely want to make sure you get in there for that. But we're going to go ahead and get straight into it. So John Wetmore is hands down my number one mentor here at FFL. Out of the gate, he was just always very, very helpful. You just kind of got a way with words that just makes you go to work, and it really kind of simplifies this thing. And I remember calling him. I was up in Jersey, up home for a little while, and I got on the call with him, and just to kind of pick his brain a little bit. I was like, if you guys don't know who John Wetmore is, he's an FFL agent for us. Got a massive agency, getting close to $10 million a month right now, which is just ridiculous. This time last year, I want to say he was probably at like 2 million. Now it's approaching 10, which is awesome. And I remember when I was calling, I was like, dude, like, how'd you get there? I was just like, how'd you go from like 0 to almost $100 million in a year? And he goes, dude, same place you were at just 7 years ago. He started from scratch, which is pretty awesome, seeing what you can do here in such a short period of time. But John, if you don't mind, man, if you can just kind of give us a quick introduction into really, how you got started with FFL.
Yeah, for sure. So one, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on. Happy to help and give back a little bit if hopefully it'll help a few people figure some things out. And I've been here since the beginning. I was hired by somebody 3 in depth to Mike Kill. I was 4 in depth to Mike Killiman. What up, dude? I was part-time for my first year when we were with the previous company. And I was an accountant. I did like corporate. And when I say accountant, everybody thinks I was a CPA. And I'm like, nah, dude, I just like paid bills at a job. It was like nothing crazy. And, did Excel and just books, crap like that. It sucked. And I never really liked it, man. And I was trying to, I've always been a little bit of trying to figure out how to make money somewhere else. I knew one day I'd figure it out. But I was, 35 and broke. I had 5 kids and found this as a part-time deal. And 3 months before FFL started, I went full-time. And, December, like late November, early December, I found out Sean was starting FFL, and it meant nothing to me because I just worked with Mike. I heard of Sean, but I didn't really know him. And he was on stage a few times. Anyway, you gonna mute that one?
Yep. Hold on, I accidentally muted you. You gotta mute yourself.
No, you good. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, December 13 went full time, or started. In August 13 went full time. In December 13, this deal started. By January 14, I about quit because we had literally no leads. There was no lead vendors at all. FFL did not have a lead vendor when we opened at all. The plan was work your current clients, figure it out. We're gonna do this at their own time. I'm like, dude, I've been doing this 3 months. I ain't got no current clients. So that's how I got introduced really to Killamette and Sean, because the guy who hired me, Jeremy, when I told him I'm like, dude, I got to go somewhere else. I was looking at other IMOs. And Matt Killamet and Sean called, and they were like, yeah, dude. He's like, Sean. He goes, yeah, bro. I run the company. I know we have no leads. I'm like, well, I gotta make money, dude. And he was like, all right, we'll come up with a plan. Here's my plan. Kind of gave me an idea of what he was trying to do. You know what I mean? The whole vision. Today's vision, he talked about 8 years ago, dude, to a T. So he explained what he was trying. Again, I didn't know either one of them at the time. I knew of them, but there was no relationship yet. So I got on the phone with them. They kind of explained what they were doing. I remember me and Steph talked, and our conversation was like, do we do this or do we not? Do we go look at something else or do we stay here? And I just remember, dude, the thing that got me to stay was I had 5 kids. Killamet had 3 girls, and Sean had his 2 young kids. And I was like, dude, they got kids too, and they got way bigger bills than I do, and they believe in this. So I believed in them, and I decided then to commit to it. And Sean, not shortly after, came up with LeadCo, was our first vendor at the time, and we had those amazing second chance with no image leads. That's all we ran the first year. So I got a spreadsheet with names and numbers and went to work, dude. In 2014, I did 175 grand on spreadsheets with no leads. Again, they were old second chance on a spreadsheet. And yeah, that was the beginning, dude. That was the beginning of it. Obviously, there was a transition to where I really figured the thing out. But first year in, it was literally went from quitting to gave me a spreadsheet and just having some faith in what Sean put together and what Killamet was doing. And I was like, well, hell, if they can figure it out, certainly I can. And honestly, I just went to work, dude. And
right.
It's
awesome.
that was the beginning.
When you said it just went to work. It's literally as simple as that. And the one thing that, especially when I was starting out, you did a great job helping me kind of get rid of the emotional roller coaster of the business, because you're a big numbers guy. We got a lot of new agents, hopping on the call today, that haven't written business yet. Got a few folks that aren't with FFL right now. And you do a great job at removing emotions from this business. Especially, when you're starting your own insurance, it can be, it's a roller coaster once in a while, right? And you really good at, again, just minimizing that emotions by using numbers. So I know when you're out there, getting started in the field, can you just kind of go through how you thought of this in terms of a numbers perspective to really help some, new agents get going?
Yeah, it took me a minute, dude, because again, I got licensed in 2010, and my first dial day I quit, and I didn't come back for 2 years, because at the time I didn't understand the numbers game. I was like, give me some leads, I can do this. And I picked up leads, and 4 people told me no, and a couple hung up on me, and I was like, this don't work. And I did what most new agents do. I got scared, and fear hit in, and I started telling myself stupid things and believing it, and I bounced. I went back to a job, which sucked. But I watched from the sideline for a couple of years, and when it got really bad, I was just tired of the work. I decided to come back, and I knew I had to overcome the fear. So I just started doing my best to be coachable, copy what other people were doing. I started getting around other people that were having success. I was like, dude, if they can figure it out, certainly I can. I mean, dude, I'm not an idiot. You know what I'm saying? I don't think I'm the smartest person on earth, but I'm like, I'm not a moron. Certainly, they can't be saying anything that earth shattering. If they're picking up these same leads and calling them and printing money, I've got to be able to figure this out. So I just started getting around it, man, studying, training like crazy, copying the Matts and Marks and Andrews and Killamets and all those guys that were here before me. Just started copying them, and I started making fairly decent money part-time. And dude, when I started, I was at a 55 comp. And
I don't know how that exists still.
Dude. So I was buying a few $100 a week worth of leads, old leads, and at a 55. And I was still making $3 or $4 grand a month part-time, which was more than I was making on my full-time job. So what really started it is when I started analyzing whether I was afraid to go full-time. I was afraid to be self-employed. I was afraid to quit my job. I had benefits. I had, a paycheck every week, that whole deal. I was nervous. And I had previously tried something in the mortgage industry, and about 9 months after that, I literally went bankrupt. Like I filed bankruptcy and lost a house. And so I was nervous, dude. But I started looking at numbers. I started messing with, I tracked everything from the beginning because I wanted to hold myself accountable. So when I dialed, I wanted to know how many dials I made. So it wasn't like I made 22 dials and felt like I ran a marathon. You know what I'm saying? Like if I saw it on the piece of paper, dude, it's hard to lie to yourself. So I track stuff and then I just put it in spreadsheets, and I'm a numbers guy, and I just basic stuff, dude. And I one day divided my deposits by my dials, and it was $17 a dial. And it just, dude, it hit me. I was like, I make what? 17 times every time I dial someone, bro. And this is in 2013 at a 55 comp, you know? So I'm like, what the hell? I don't make $17 an hour at my job. I'm making $17 every time some asshole hangs up on me. And dude, it changed everything for me. That day changed everything. I was like, bro, for $17, I'll go to their house and let them punch me in the face. You know what I mean? Like I didn't care. So it just, the whole game changed then. And then it became, how much can I do and how fast can I do it? And then it became an efficiency thing for me. I didn't love dialing. I had a lot of it. Even at the end, dude, I was selling 40, 50, 60 grand a month and I got nervous dialing. I'm weird. But the numbers, and again, this is a part-time 55 comp numbers I'm talking about, were stupid. So I just started looking at it and going, all right, how many dials can I get in whatever window I have to dial? Does that make sense? So I'd be looking at it. And again, at the time I'm part-time. So I'm going, all right, if I got 4 hours on a Sunday to dial, how many dials can I get in 4 hours? How many times can I dial someone? Because dude, statistically, if I dialed one guy 5 times, I still got paid $17 per dial on the average when I put in big numbers. So I really started paying attention to, you know, before that, I used to flip my leads. I used to look at the age of my leads. I used to look up in underwriting guidelines before I dialed someone. I used to look at what time they said they'd be home. I used to assume what time they said they'd be home. I used to like compare, if I had one appointment and I picked up a lead, bro, I'd get on like MapQuest, and I'm going to date myself. I'd get on MapQuest and I'd map out how far the lead was from the one from how far the appointment was from the one I was about to dial. And I'm like, how stupid. And I started realizing what I learned during dialing was from the time I hang up, like I dial voicemail and I hang up, the time from that hang up till the next dial, dude, that gap was more time than I was dialing if I added up all those gaps. You know what I'm saying? So, dude, I'd be sitting in front of the computer dialing for 4 hours and I do 36 dials. I'm like, all right, well, each one's a minute. That's 36 minutes worth of dials, means I was sitting there for 3 hours and 24 minutes doing nothing. And when I did the math at $17 a dial, I'm like, dude, I just lost, I don't know what the math is on that off the top of my head, but I just lost a couple grand. You know what I mean? If I wasn't being a wuss or overthinking things or looking at I used to write notes on my leads. That guy was an a-hole. This one hung up on me. They yelled at me. They blah, blah, blah. Dude, next time I pick up that lead to dial, dude, I'm timid as hell. So I looked at numbers and I just decided for $17 a pop, dude, I didn't give a rip anymore what anyone said. I just stopped caring. No different than, dude, I don't care when someone yells at me. I'm from Boston, dude. We drive like maniacs. There's road rage all over the place. Dude, I didn't give two craps when someone yelled at me on the road at all. You know what I mean? So I don't care. And I just applied that same theory or thought process to this, you know, and I just started looking at it solely as numbers. And with time, as my comp went up and I really started having some success learning it, because I started studying it because I didn't know how to articulate things well. I don't come from a sales background, so I didn't understand like the assumptiveness we had. Dude, I had to like understand what the hell that meant, much less how to do it. You know, right. Setting the stage for people, laying the groundwork. Dude, I didn't even understand the concepts, much less, the words, much less the concepts and some of the things that like Matt and them were teaching. So I just started becoming a student because, dude, I became a student. And again, many of y'all know I had kids real young, and I didn't go to college till like my mid 20s because I realized I had no shot at a good living without more education. So I became a student of accounting so I could get a degree so I could get a better job. And I found out that 4 years of student life paid me 30 grand a year. So I treated this the same. But dude, there were people everywhere making, dude, these cats were printing money. I mean, Mark did 350 grand that year, our first year with no lead. I'm like, bro, I don't know nothing about that. I need that kind of money. So I started becoming a student of the game. I literally started studying it. I was writing down in-home phone script, I started asking why they say things, explain it. I wore Killiman out with questions. I wore his ass out I wanted to understand. And when I really learned the game of how it works, and it's a big psychological game. That's all this is. I mean, sure, it's insurance and there's leads, but at the end of the day, the hurdle, how you print money, it's all psychological, dude. You know what I mean? How much can you handle with the capacity? Do you say things the right way to the clients, to the agents, to overcome or to prevent objections versus overcoming them? Shit like that. And dude, when I had the numbers to back it, and then I started tracking numbers like on appointments booked. And dude, when I did the math, and this is old math, but it came out to $400 an appointment booked. So every time I booked one, it was $400, whether or not I sold it. Or hell, they didn't even have to show up. They could have not been there. And I made $400, you know? And I was just like, dude, I'm gonna start booking 30 a week. 40 a week. 30 a week times $400. Dude, that's 12 G's. After chargebacks, it's 8, 9, 10 G's a week. I don't live in that world, dude. So I wanted that. And that's where I started. Dude, I would travel. I'd run 50 appointments in a week on a travel trip sometimes at $400 a pop. I literally didn't give a shit if they said no. I was almost trying to get them to say no faster so I could get out of the house to get to the next one that was going to say yes easy. You know what I mean? Right. My questions became so direct and intentional. And again, I had no fear of it because I knew I was going to make the money either way. I just had to get through the people, you know?
It's a big numbers game. Like, you know, as Sean always talks about, it's just literally attitude and activity. I know when I first started, it's just like, I would spend so many times looking at the age of this lead, the age of that lead, how it's just doing so much stuff that's not actually adding value. The odds are the person's not going to pick up the phone anyway. So like, you're doing all this stuff that's not actually, you know, providing value to your business. And I think you used this analogy for me the other day. It's like if you hired someone to dial for you, right? And they're dialing for 8 hours a day, and they get back to you at the end of the day saying, "Hey, I made 150 dials." It's like what? You can make one dial an hour, right? But you should be able to make a dial an hour. So over 8 hours, call it, you know, that's close to, 500 dials in an 8 hour day. It's like, what did you do with the rest of that? What did you do with the rest of the time? And I mean, when you put it into the sense that, hey, you make $17 every time you dial the phone, you were probably dialing the phone a heck of a lot faster. And I think that's where a lot of agents struggle, is just dialing the phone and going to work and getting that emotional. Pace.
Yeah, it just became about pace. When you do a dial a minute, and by the way, for those that caught it, he meant a dial a minute, not an hour. But yeah. I heard this analogy. I'm trying to think who said it. Someone everybody knows. Anyway, I listen to a lot of like podcast stuff and motivational shit. And someone gave an example, and they were like, think about when you go out to a restaurant to eat, right? And they think, you ever sit down at the table, they sit you down, and then they walk away and say, Joe's going to be with you in a minute to give you drinks. And dude, Joe takes 4 minutes, 5 minutes, 7 minutes, 9 minutes to come give you your water. How frustrated you get with Joe because their service is slow. Does that make sense? Because they're not efficient or fast or on time or doing what they said they were going to do. And then the meals come out. So like how irritated we get, like pissed when someone doesn't serve us quick enough. He's like, why don't you hold yourself that accountable when you don't do what you say you're going to do? When you say you're going to dial at 8 a.m. and you don't start till 11, how come you ain't as pissed at yourself as you are at the waiter who took 4 minutes too long? And people treat waiters like shit. when they're a few minutes late. You know what I'm saying? It's like, why are we not holding ourselves that accountable? I was like, I'm gonna steal that one. And it's just, but our thought think, you know what I mean? Or like, again, if we're sitting around waiting on the cable guy and he doesn't get something done as fast or at the exact time he said, you know what I mean? Like we get so mad. And it's funny that agents, myself included, would get so pissed off and do get so pissed off at their results every day. This one no-showed me. This one canceled. This one said no. This one said think about it. It's all results-driven anger. But you don't hear nobody like, I'm so pissed off that I didn't dial at 8 a.m. this morning. I didn't start till 10. You know what I mean? It's like, get mad at your effort. When that happens, dude, your world will change. Honestly, you get mad at results, dude, you're just playing the wrong game. Like that's right. You're going to be in the rat race forever.
Yep. And there's a quote that you said the other day, and I've been talking a lot about it too. And I think you said this up at the Greenville conference, and it was pretty simple. Like, stop judging your results, judge your activity. Right? If the activity is there, the results are going to come. But when you focus on the results, it's very easy to get frustrated. And John, after a few years, you started like building your team, and now obviously you have like a massive agency. What did that look like for you in terms of getting started building your team? And like, how did you get to where you got? I know we got about 5-10 minutes left, but like, could you give us like a quick Spark Notes version on like why you wanted to do that and how you started doing that?
Well, one, I believed in it. I believed in this from the beginning. The minute I had that conversation with Sean and them, I was like, and I believed in the model prior to. I just didn't know if FFL was right or not early. That's hence the conversation. But the model, dude, I believed in from day one. The minute I saw it, and I was like, dude, insurance has been around for a couple hundred years. I get it. As soon as I was like, I get it. Bro, I've been doing interviews. I was doing interviews when I was driving to my accounting job. I used to get ZipRecruiter or Craigslist. I used to run Craigslist ads, 25. Well, at one point it was free. Then some cities started being $25 a pop. But I was running Craigslist ads, dude, when I was an accountant. And on my commute, I had like an hour and a half commute every day, each way. I was doing interviews then. And my first year, I still know the numbers because they're so bad. In 2013, dude, I interviewed like 350 people and I had no agent still. And in 2014, I interviewed like 450 people and I think I had one agent. Dude, I got it handed to me. It was a lot of reps. It was a lot of learning how to ask questions, how to interview, how to speak the right way, learning that people say one thing and do another, and me to not get frustrated at that. You think the results on leads are bad? Bro, the results on interviews are 10x worse. It's 20x worse, 50x worse. They're awful. From calling a resume to getting an agent paid and staying here and not complaining and going out and killing it, dude, it's a needle in a haystack. But I understood it. So I was just, like Mark says, I was building my thick skin. I was learning how to do this. And I think just being relentless and not stopping. And then after a couple of years, man, a little bit of momentum started happening. I started learning from my mistakes. I started getting guidance from Killerman on what I was doing, what I was saying wrong, the expectations I was setting, me trying to be everything to everybody versus just pointing to a system and finding people that wanted to follow it. You know what I'm saying? Like, this thing ain't that damn complicated. And so I learned how to make that a numbers game as well. And then I started doing as many interviews a week as I expected appointments a week. So I was doing 30 appointments a week, 30 interviews a week. That was my goal when I was full time. And I was just interviewing in the car. I had ads running all the time. And by the way, this thing 24/7. Dude, from the minute I woke up, which was 5 a.m., to the second I went to sleep, which was 12, 1, 2 in the morning, for 5 straight years, it was all this. My wife's like, in the background, if y'all can hear it. Like, it was nothing but this, to a fault, honestly. And I just, I did what I had to do to make it work. I probably did too much for agents. I answered the phone too much. I answered too many questions. Dude, I used to pull over on the side of the road and run new agents quotes because they couldn't find the calculators. You know what I mean? Like, stuff like that. I went out of my way to serve people, to help them get paid. And with time, all that happened, bro, is my willingness to do that just creeped up. One agent here, and I had 2, and I had 3, and I had 4. I never added 40 in a month. Mute Taco.
Hello.
Hey, Taco, you're unmuted, bro.
He's muted. We're good.
And then all that happened, bro, is some other people started helping. Athena came along. She started hiring. Then, and then Luffles and Josh were here. Then eventually, like, Nick came along and Waller was here. And then, Zach started hiring. Other people started hiring. And it wasn't just me. So a lot of the growth is not, I got it started. Like, I started the little snowball, started rolling it, making the little snowman. But dude, the avalanche is because all the people helping. It's certainly not because Wetmore. All I did was start the thing,
Right.
And give point to the opportunity. Guys like you are taking this thing and running with it.
And it's awesome to, the opportunity that we have here, right, to go out with the commission structure, the way it's set is that, it allows you to go out there and make a good amount of money, to start hiring staff, to really treat this thing like a business. And I mean, I think there's a few folks on this call that, they're at 30, 40, 50% comps. And it's just like, how do you make a business out of that? I was talking to a fellow the other day and he goes, why would you start someone at such a high comp? Like, if they're just a rookie, right? Like, why are you giving them such high comp? And it's just like, dude, like, they're new. Like, if you want them to succeed, you should probably pay them a little bit extra and they're going to stick around. Like, and John, if you were an accountant, right? Let's say you're making like 40 grand a month. If they started paying you 100 grand a month, right? To make sure your bills can get paid and everything, like, you probably have stuck around there for a little bit longer. You might have not actually looked for a different opportunity. Is that fair to assume?
Yeah, I was making 40 G's a year. They paid me 100, 150 grand a year. I'd have never looked. I just wouldn't have. And the same thing, as you said that, this hit me too. I think a lot of mistakes, like, we tend to try to help people with leads at the beginning, right? And you see a lot of guys trying to hire and they'll give a new agent like 20 leads. And I'm like, dude, let me ask you a question. Bro, what can you make happen with 20 leads? Remember, you're the one that's good at this. Well, nothing. What the hell shot do they have? You're telling someone by giving them 20 leads that they can actually make money in this business with 20 leads. Like, what planet are you on? Like, they're new and they don't know what they're doing. Shouldn't they need more leads than you? You know what I'm saying? So when I was getting people started, I spent on them. So if I needed $1,500 a week on leads, now they had to be doing the right things. But you're doing the right things. If I need 100 leads a week to do what I need to do, I just know 100 leads a week isn't going to net the same fruit for them. They're not as good. And if I gave them 20, I'm literally giving them no shot. So I learned to really set the right stage. And if I was going to help someone, I was picky about who I helped. You had better be working your ass off, or I ain't your guy. But if you're working your ass off, bro, I'm making it easy. Because if I make it easy for you to make money in your first week and tell you all you got to do is take the money that you made from the leads I gave you and put all of it back into leads, and the money you make from the leads you bought, pay your bills with, dude, then I could just wash, rinse, repeat that. And I spent in 2017, dude, I spent 450 grand on leads and I wasn't in the field.
Which is, it's just, that's crazy. Just what we're able to do here in such a short amount of time, and folks like you that are willing to help people that go to work, right? You got to go to work. And just like the FFL culture is like, we want to see everyone win, right? But, if we're investing in people and they're not going to work, you're kind of just putting a Band-Aid on the situation. It's not good for them either. Right? They got to go to work to make this thing work. So, I mean, John, we're right at 1:30 here, so we're going to cut it in just a second. But if you could give like everyone out here, just some advice on either, if they're new, they're not with FFL yet, or just, they've been around for a little while and they want to take their business just to that next level. What's one thing that a lot of these folks could, take away from this and start actioning on?
If you're not happy with where you're at, you got to change you. I think the moment you accept that, your world will change. When you put it on external stuff, the chances you changing someone else or something else, or the weather, the leads, or the heat map, or where you got to go, you know what I mean? Like, what are you doing? Like, what? Like, you're the problem, which makes you the solution. You know what I'm saying? And the minute I accepted it, dude, painful as it was, my world changed, bro. Because then I was in control. And then who was to be mad at? I was willing to do what it took. You know what I mean? And I didn't expect miracles in a day. This is like FU money. You don't make this kind of money by like rolling out of bed at noon and casually picking up the phone and sometimes buying leads and maybe sometimes getting on a training and not thinking you need help. Like I had a new guy call me last week. He had one appointment. He booked one appointment. He's like, do you mind if I call you? I'm like, yeah. He goes, not that I'm expecting help. I'm like, on your first appointment, you're not expecting help? Like, what? What planet are you on, dude? What are we talking about? I'm 8 years in and me and Killamette talk every day. Business, not like about the sun. I'm trying to figure out how to get better. And I'm 8 years in, dude. I call Mark every week, still to this day. Hey, dude, what's up? What can I'm trying to learn from him. Still, every day. I talk to Matt Smith 3-4 times a week. Still, trying to get better, learn what they're doing. I called John Gavin last week. Hey, what's your onboarding process? Hell, I asked you about some stuff last week, about your onboarding process. I called Twardowski about some of the stuff he's doing. Dude, I've been doing this 8 years and I'm still trying to learn. You got people who've been here for a couple of weeks and they refuse to call people. I'm like, dude, what are we doing?
Yep. Sweet. Well, John, dude, I appreciate you hopping on, man. I appreciate all the support. You know, you're always picking up the phone for everyone that's going to work. And yeah, you're a big reason why a lot of us on this call are here and having a lot of success. So I appreciate you having you on, John. And I'll looking forward to seeing you next time. Take it easy.